Update 7 on Typhoon Haiyan, which is currently located towards the northwest of Palawan in the Philippines with wind speeds of 145 miles per hour, just shy of super typhoon intensity now, and gusts of 175 miles per hour. With a pressure of 929 millibars, current position is 12.4 degrees north, 118.1 degrees east, and the storm is expected to move towards the west-northwest, crossing the South China Sea. Could also intensify a little bit more once more as it crosses over those open waters, but it will weaken before making landfall in Vietnam, possibly as a Category 3 typhoon, and then eventually move inland, paralleling the coastline a little bit as it moves inland over Vietnam and gradually weakening towards tropical depression status in 72 hours and complete dissipation probably following not long after that. So that's the current situation there. The storm is still within range of the Philippines, still delivering some inclement weather there. Obviously, the storm made landfall just yesterday as a very strong typhoon with wind speeds of 195 miles per hour and crossed through much of those islands as a Category 5 typhoon. So current warnings in effect right now. Signal 3 warnings in effect for northern Palawan, that's the area to the west there and the closest to the storm. Signal 2 warnings for Mindoro and Signal 1 warnings in effect for Romblon and the island of Panay. And the storm's currently located just towards the west of Palawan now, clearing the Philippines, and so all warnings should be lifted not too long from now, which is obviously welcome news for those on the Philippines. We don't want any more storm conditions occurring much longer, any longer than it needs to. The storm is expected to move towards the west-northwest, so we have typhoon conditions possible in 48 hours for quite a lot of Vietnam, extending pretty much from the central part of the country all the way up towards the northern section of Vietnam, and the storm could obviously, with the way it's going to make landfall, it could be striking at an angle paralleling the coast, and that could also result in some flooding occurring, especially if it's still a strong storm by then. Right now it's 145 miles per hour, 929 millibars, still quite a severe storm, even though it is not quite as strong as it once was not too long ago, yesterday and the day before, but still a very strong storm in prospect. Sea surface temperatures right now still fairly warm, around 28 degrees Celsius, but that will drop off a little bit as the storm progresses towards the west-northwest, dropping to about 26 or 27 degrees, which is marginal for typhoon development. Probably can't support a Category 4 storm, so we'll probably see weakening to that effect in the next 24 hours. The CMC model then, first of all, takes the storm towards the west-northwest, making landfall in Vietnam and dissipating rather quickly, with another storm forming in its wake not too far from Palawan, making landfall in Vietnam with another system forming in the Indian Ocean. The GFS model has something fairly similar in prospect for Haiyan, making landfall in Vietnam along the central part of the country, then moving inland and dissipating rather quickly, with that next storm forming once more along the western coast of the Philippines and making landfall in Vietnam as well a bit further south. So here's the latest satellite imagery on the storm Haiyan. In the past few hours it's moved out to sea. The main core of the storm is no longer over any land areas, though the spiral bands are still producing lots of heavy rain and probably gusty winds there as well, over parts of Luzon, the Visayas region, possibly even parts of Mindanao too still, as well as Palawan of course, which is where the storm is closest to right now. The storm's moving towards the west-northwest, just north of west at the moment, and that will probably curve a little bit further towards the northwest over the next few days, as it moves towards Vietnam and makes landfall towards the northern half of Vietnam in the next 48 hours, and it will do so as a strong storm. As I said, we could still be looking at wind speeds of 115 miles per hour or higher, with obviously much higher gusts. The world tropics right now. As of November the 8th, 2013 at 9 PM UTC, we have a system that could develop into a tropical cyclone, Invest 90A, in the Arabian Sea, which could be a problem for Somalia. It could make landfall there as a tropical cyclone. And of course we have Haiyan, which is moving away from the Philippines right now towards the South China Sea. You can also see a little bit of a disturbance towards Micronesia, that region, something that could develop over the next few days. We'll be watching that one because that could be what the models are hinting at for our next storm perhaps, but we'll see about that one and see how things develop over the next few days. 2013 compared then, it's the 29th busiest season on record, with 27 tropical storms depending on whose total you go by, 15 typhoons, 10 of which reaching Category 3 intensity or higher, 115 miles per hour winds sustained or above. So that's the current situation there, in the company of 1984 just above, 1982 just below, and a few seasons from the 60s, 1947, 1985, a few positions above that as well. You can track this storm at the website force13.com/stormtracking.html. That's the main page for all your storm tracking information, including tracking invests and post-tropical cyclones, and of course tracking Haiyan as it progresses through the South China Sea in between these videos. You can also find us elsewhere on the web, Facebook and Twitter. To search Force 13 on either of those. You should find us fairly easily enough, and as always, please do show your support by doing the usual means of engagement, liking, subscribing, commenting, favoriting or following, or indeed anything else that you may be able to think of. And if you have any comments for this video, anything storm related, please do so underneath this video or by private message if you so wish. You might want to do the latter, because it still appears that I can't reply to comments at the moment due to something technical going on within YouTube, so you can either private message or go to the Force 13 website and send in a contact form if you'd like to have something answered. The next update on this storm will probably arrive at about 2:30 PM on Saturday, that's November the 9th, 2013, and that is local time 11 PM Philippine time.